So I developed that sheet. Now we have stacks of them, and when a person walks through the door, they get a clipboard and ask them to mark all the products that they would like to discuss in their appointment today and list every product and service we offer.
Wow. How much has that affected your business?
Oh, Dallas, I wish I would have tracked it better.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I know for a fact I've made over $1 million off that one piece of paper alone.
Welcome back to the Medicare Sales Playbook. I'm your host, Dallas Keithley. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we appreciate all the feedback, comments we've got. Would ask you to share this, like, subscribe, all of that stuff. And man, we greatly appreciate. Also, comment. We want to hear from you. Who do you want to see in the chair next to me? Who do you want to hear from? What are some problems you're having? What are some things that you're going through and that we could help you with? We would love to help you. That's our goal here. We want to help you expand your Medicare business one play at a time here at the Medicare Sales Playbook. So appreciate you tuning in. I am joined today by a very special guest, the man that's responsible for getting me into the insurance industry some 23 years ago. Please help me welcome to the show CEO of Impact Legacy Group, Mr. Brian Askins.
Hey, great to be here, Dallas.
Brian,
thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate that. This is one we've been looking forward to for a long time. And
absolutely.
So we started planning on doing this, and man, we said, we got to have Brian on as the first guest. So appreciate that. But I want to jump right into it. You've been doing this a minute.
34 years now.
34 years, started with Reliable Life Insurance in 1990 and started doing a debit route. So talk about, there's kids out there that don't know what 1990 is, much less what a debit route is. So talk about what that is.
That is true. So we had no Medicare products whatsoever. It was only final expense, and we had a fire and dwelling policy, which was homeowners insurance without the liability coverage. Mm-hmm. So the max we could sell on a policy with the life insurance was $50,000, and the max we could sell with the fire and dwelling was $30,000.
Wow!
And so when you sold a policy, you had to go around each and every month to collect that premium. There was no, a bank draft. There was no mail pay. It was all door to door collecting it each and every month.
And these still exist today. I talked to somebody online the other day.
They're rare, but they do.
Still ran a debit route.
Yes.
And I talked to him about his career choices, but no, that's awesome. And man, you jumped in with both feet, like
absolutely
rookie of the year. We've heard that. I've heard that story, won that. And then moved on to, in 1997, went to become an agent at Mutual of Omaha, and then went through there. Talk about your time there and what you did there at Mutual of Omaha.
So I got when I went to work for Mutual of Omaha in 1997, I got introduced to Medicare. It's the first time I'd seen anything about Medicare whatsoever. And so I was an agent with Mutual, but I still didn't sell Medicare when I first started because I was so used to selling final expense. I knew that product line. I knew, the marketing, the prospecting. I knew how to do that, door knocking, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And so I started doing that, just selling final expense, a lot of final expense and life insurance. And so I did that. And then after just a little while, I became a district sales manager over Northeast Arkansas in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And I did that for about 7 or 8 months. And then I got a phone call from Milton Brock asking me how would I like to be the district sales manager for the state of Arkansas. And so when I did that, we had some agents in our agency that were doing a lot of Medicare. And so obviously I was intrigued, mm-hmm. And they were the ones that was getting the biggest paychecks each and every week.
Yeah, that's intriguing.
Yeah. So they were the ones getting, each and every week. They were the ones that was like, I'm like, because I'd look through everybody's pay and how much mm-hmm. commissions they were getting, and the life people were making great money too. But the Medicare individuals, whether they had that residual income. They had that residual income. And so anyways, very, very intriguing. And so then after a little while, I became the general manager. And then we just focused a lot of Medicare as the door opener to cross-sell. And we just became really, really good at cross-selling, and which, that's a huge focus of mine now.
Yeah.
And so when we became really great at cross-selling, or great at Medicare because it was that door opener, our agency became the number one agency at Mutual Omaha in the Medicare supplement space. We did not have Medicare Advantage plans.
Now, I think folks are going to miss something here. You just said they became the number one out of how many offices in the United States?
51.
51. Where were they when you took over Mutual of Omaha?
We were around 49.
We weren't last, baby.
We weren't last. But it was just such a. But the crazy thing is the Medicare place. That's where that foundation just really started, and we built a foundation on that.
Yeah, that's crazy. But no Medicare Advantage plans.
Zero Medicare Advantage. It was 100% mutual or Medicare supplements, and no prescription drug plans either.
Yeah,
we only sold their supplement. Period.
Wow.
So
went on to become the general manager there. Stayed at number one. How many years at number one?
So it started as a general manager in 2000, and started. Was ranked 49th, and then each year we kind of climbed the ladder a few spots, and then in 2010. We were the number one agency in the company and broke every company record they had in total production, and also in especially Medicare. We were the next person behind us in Medicare was even 50% of what we were doing.
Wow.
We had just put so much focus on Medicare, but we were like number 2 or 3 in life insurance.
Yeah.
We were number 2 or 3 in securities. We were number 2 or 3 in long-term care. Those type things. But Medicare just separated us beyond belief. On it.
So when you take something over, I'm going to chase a rabbit here for just a second. Yeah. When you take something over, is the goal to be number one? I mean, is that? Oh. I mean, a dumb question, right? But yeah. In anything you do.
Oh, I'm not sure why you would do anything. Why there would be another goal?
Yeah, there is no number. If you guys don't know this, the movie Talladega Nights was based on Brian Askins' story, right? I want to go fast, Daddy, right?
If you ain't first, you're last.
You ain't first, you're last. Absolutely. So 2014, life took a big change, right?
It did.
Talk about going through that and, the mindset there. And now it's to become number one in a different area.
Yeah, so 2014, I parted away from Mutual Hall, and I'd always kind of I was always intrigued a little bit by starting an independent agency. Didn't know exactly what that entailed.
Yeah,
and so when I did that, started in February the 13th of 2014. So doing that, you start out, and all of a sudden, you're independent. You got all these carriers, all these products, and it's just overwhelming. Yeah. You're like, where do I start? Like
independent can mean free, but it can also mean alone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It truly can be. Yeah. And I was starting a scratch agency. I had a very large income to replace from Mutual. And so obviously the easiest way to replace that income was personal sales.
Yeah.
And so I started doing a lot of personal sales, but I was recruiting at the same time. So I was spending, about 50% of my time personal sales, 50% of my time recruiting and developing. And then a lot of times my idea of training individuals was, hey, let's get in the car and let's go. That was the fastest way. Come sit in appointments with me, those type things. But I got introduced to Medicare Advantage plans at that time. Mm-hmm. In Mutual, and rightfully so, they weren't in the Medicare Advantage world, and they put out brochures that, the Medicare disadvantage, and, they really brainwash us to think that Medicare Advantage plans were such a bad thing.
Yeah.
And they can, if loans are explained properly and, people do the proper prep work to make sure they're in the right plan, doctors are networked, prescriptions are covered, all those things, people understand the copays. It's a beautiful product.
Yeah.
It's an amazing product. And as long as it's done in the right way.
Right.
So I got introduced to Medicare Advantage plans, and it's kind of funny, Craig Burry.
Craig Burry, yeah.
Yeah. And so Craig Burry's the one basically introduced me to Medicare Advantage plans. And it was funny that, and I was, and Craig tells this story all the time, and I was a downline of his for a while. And then, obviously we
switched roles.
We grew fast. We grew fast. And so Craig tells that story all the time now. But
and getting into Medicare Advantage plans was a game changer. And just you talk about the importance though. Because I know you have written some life cases. What's the largest life case you ever written?
$515,000 annual life premium.
$515,000 annual life premium. That wasn't a bad payday, right?
It was not a bad payday.
But still, you go back to Medicare. Talk about the importance of residual income and why that means so much to you.
What I love about the Medicare space, I truly love this, is it's such an easy thing for agents to get into, build a foundation. This industry's hard, especially when you start out, and when you first got in the business, it wasn't the easiest thing you've ever done.
Failed twice at it.
Yeah, it wasn't the easiest thing you've ever done. And but once you get into Medicare and you start building that foundation, and that foundation being that residual income, and then all of a sudden, because we're all going to have bad weeks from time to time, it's going to happen, but when you have that foundation, you have that residual income foundation, all of a sudden, it makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
And there's over 10,000 people a day, obviously, that turning 65 each and every day. Those individuals, it's kind of like buying car insurance. When you buy a new car, you got to get car insurance.
Right.
Well, when you turn 65, most likely you're getting Medicare. There's a 99.9999% chance you're getting.
You're at least going to have that conversation.
You're having that conversation.
Yeah.
Very few people don't. They don't go on Medicare.
Right.
It's rare, extremely rare, and so you just have that opportunity to get in front of those individuals. But the big thing is that, I saw a lot of Medicare, and always have. Or since 2014 or 2014, I've sold a lot of Medicare Advantage plans, but life insurance just as much.
Yeah.
Because of that, once you develop that confidence and that trust, and because Medicare can be confusing.
Yep.
They're seeing TV commercials that all day long. They're getting mail in the mail all day long. They're getting these annoying phone calls all day long.
Carrier pigeons, they're just being attacked.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And if CMS wants to stop something, that's the stuff they should stop.
Yeah.
And leave everything else alone. Just stop those type, all those false advertisings. And but anyway, so the you get those all that stuff to where it's just confusing. But once you build that confidence and trust in those individuals, they're going to trust you with everything.
Yeah. Now, cross-selling is very important to you.
100%.
Makes the client sticky, makes them your client, the retention is there. Talk about you developed, we've called it different things, the cross-selling sheet, the appointment sheet, whatever you want to call it, the sheet that you use in every appointment to make sure that everybody knows what you do. Talk about why you developed that and how.
So I was sitting with the client one day doing a prescription drug plan review, and this was back in early 20, or actually, I guess it may have been 2014 or 2015. I'm sitting with the client, and we're doing a prescription drug plan review. I just sold him a prescription drug plan 3 or 4 months earlier.
Right.
And so we're sitting.
You made like $16 for the year.
Yeah. It wasn't much. It wasn't much. And so anyways, we're sitting there doing a review because it's AEP, annual election period. And so we're doing a review to review that plan. And I'm sitting there, and we got to start talking about, we're done reviewing it. He needs to stay on the same plan. And so we're done reviewing everything. We're sitting there, and he mentions an annuity. And I said, "You don't have an annuity, do you?" He said, and his exact words were, "Brian, please tell me you do not sell annuities."
Yeah.
And I looked at him with just an awkward look, like I'm looking at you now.
Yeah.
And I said, "I do." He said, "Brian, if I'd have known you offered annuities, I would have done my business with you. I'd love to do all my business with you," was his exact words.
Yeah.
Exact words. He said, "But you know why I didn't do it with you?" And I said, "You didn't know I did it." Yep. He said, "Exactly." He said, "Can I give you some advice?" And that's exact words. "Can I give you some advice?" It's a local business owner.
Yeah.
And I said, "It sounds like I need it."
Yeah.
Sounds like I need it. He said, "Brian, you have to let people know what you do. People will do business with you if they know what you do. They will not do business with you." He said, "I honestly thought the only thing you did was Medicare, because when I came in, that's all you talked about.
Yeah.
You didn't talk about anything else. I came to your Medicare seminar, and then I came into the office. That's all we talked about was Medicare. You never mentioned another product." So I immediately went to my office that day, and I told the staff, I said, don't interrupt me unless it's important. And I created that cross-selling sheet, which is just a sheet with listen all the products we offer with a quick little description of what each product is. Right. So I got the idea. And so first I just had the sheet. And so then I go to the dentist, and I'm sitting, and so when I walk to the dentist, the first thing the dentist, because I went to a brand new dentist, they handed me a clipboard with the form on it.
Yep.
And so I left that office that day, and I'm like, why am I not doing this?
Yeah.
Why am I not, every time a person walks in the door, I'm not handing them a clipboard with a form to fill out?
Yeah.
And so then, how you have your annual checkups. I go to annual checkup with the doctor. First thing they handed me was a clipboard.
Right.
And I'm like, why am I missing this? Yeah. Why am I missing this? And so anyway, so I developed that sheet. Now we have stacks of them, and when a person walks through the door, they get a clipboard and ask them to mark all the products that they would like to discuss in their appointment today and list every product and service we offer.
Wow. How much has that affected your business?
Oh, Dallas, I wish I would have tracked it better.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I know for a fact I've made over $1 million off that one piece of paper alone.
Now, so there's agents sitting there right now, and they're just selling Medicare, and I understand that because you work so hard to establish yourself as the Medicare professional, and then you say, "Now let me look at your annuity." How do you make that transition? And like you have things on your sheet. You have property and casualty on there. How many property and casualty pieces have you written in the last 10 years?
I've been licensed for 34 years. I've never sold a case.
Right, but you still have it on your sheet.
I do.
How, why, and then how do you accommodate somebody says, you know what, I do want P&C. Let's say, and not, I know right now, at Impact, you guys have a property and casualty division, all that. Let's say I'm a single agent sitting there. I have my life and health.
That's what it started.
That's all I've got, right? Talk to me about why you have property and casualty on there and what you do with it.
So now obviously, we're having the PNC now. We've got pretty big PNC block of business now. But before I did that, I had to get PNC license back when I was with Reliable Life, and we were selling that fire and dwelling. So when I say I've never sold one, I did sell the fire and dwelling back then, but it was homeowners without liability.
Right.
So I'm not really sure if that was considered PNC or not. And but long story short is, you want to keep that on there. You want to develop relationships, referral relationships. This business is all about referrals. There's so many opportunities we have to get referrals back and forth, but we miss those opportunities. And so I would go visit. I would take that and I would go visit with that property and casualty agent if I were you. I'm talking to everybody out here on the call or listen to this podcast here. Find that property and casualty agent who only does property and casualty. They're not into the life space. They're not in the Medicare space. They're not into the annuity space. They are property and casualty focused. Refer them business like crazy, and they will refer you back.
Yeah.
And it's that giver's gain that we talk about, with, and I love BNI, I love Mob and all those. I love those, but I started my own. I did, Dallas, I'm a control freak, and just a little bit. Maybe.
The first step's admitting. Right?
The first step is admitting. So, but it's all about just developing that relationship to where you go back and forth. Yeah. But I want to kind of piggyback a little bit because you asked the question, but then you went to the second. I want to go back to that first question you asked. It's how do you transition? Okay, so here's how you do it. You hand them the piece of paper. And when they come back, if they're there for Medicare, they come back in and they've marked Medicare and they probably have marked something else, probably. But let's just say they do or do not. It doesn't matter. So they mark Medicare. So you walk in and you take care of their Medicare. You blow them away with education. You blow them away with your knowledge on this. You blow them away with how just you provide a lot of value.
Yeah,
just extreme value. And at the end of your appointment, then you pull that sheet back out. I don't do it before, I do it after because I'm looking to provide that value before I ask for anything else.
Yeah, the value is the most important piece.
If I were to ask them about their annuities and all that on the front end or their life insurance or long-term care.
That's awkward and weird.
I'm not getting it because I've not provided any value yet. Yeah. And where I'm going to provide the immense value is I'm going to make Medicare clear to them. I'm going to show them the options with Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage plans, how Medicare Advantage plans work versus original Medicare, the cost, the benefits, everything.
Right.
And I'm putting 2 sheets in front of them. Because even the sheets we use for that has cross-selling intent. On the Medicare Advantage plans, it has a built-in hospital indemnity plan at the bottom. And it says optional because I'm never looking to make somebody think it's mandatory. It says optional, but it's built in on the sheet. On the prescription, on the Medicare, original Medicare, the Medicare supplement, at the bottom it has the dental, vision, hearing because on that sheet we explain how original Medicare does not cover dental, vision, and hearing.
Right.
But at the end of the meeting, I'm walking back through that sheet, Dallas, and I'm saying, hey, Mr. Prospect, today we took care of your Medicare. But also, I'd like to find out, and I turn that sheet around, who do you have your life insurance with? And just listen. and you've already provided value.
Right.
They're going to just start rattling. Hey, I've got this, I've got that. Hey, Mr. Prospect, who do you have your safe money accounts? Do you have any CDs, money market accounts, 401ks, pension plans, IRAs? And you start just walking through those things.
Wow.
And they're just going to, but you provided value first.
Right.
And then you turn that sheet around and people say, how do you cross-sell so much? At least 80% of my book is cross-sold.
Yeah.
At least. And the big majority that aren't cross-sold because, they're dual eligibles,
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. There's so many areas I want to go. I do want to touch on one thing because you guys have something at Impact Legacy Group that I think is phenomenal. I think it's groundbreaking. I think it's the next step in the insurance business. A lot of people are scared to death of annuities. And I just want to touch on this real quick. You have agents that don't want to sell an annuity because they're scared of it, and somewhat rightfully so.
Yeah.
This is a senior's whole life savings. Biggest concern for a senior is I outlive my money. They're sitting there with Medicare clients. You guys developed a strategy that they can refer that business to somebody and still get paid on it. Talk about that very briefly.
Yeah. And so, Dallas, you brought up a good point is a lot of times people don't get into product lines because they're unsure of,
right.
And rightfully so. We can only be a master at so many things.
Right.
Okay. And so we've developed a system to where individuals who doesn't really want to get into the annuity space, to where we have two programs called Empower and Elevate. Empower is where we'll help them run proposals. We'll do everything for them, help them everything except get in front of the client. Okay. Right. We'll help them prep. We'll walk through the proposals. We'll help them decide what product is the best for them, the whole 9 yards, and Empower that to where the agent then keeps 100% of the commission, okay, of the street commission. And then we have what we call Elevate. Elevate is to where that person says, there's two types of people in Elevate. One is it says, hey, I'd like to learn annuities, but I'm not there yet. So I want to refer agents to our retirement team or refer clients to our retirement team, and to where the retirement team, they can sit on every meeting, they can learn. They're watching the initial meeting to where they're, gathering the information. Right. They're watching, uncovering the assets. They're watching the close. They're watching, completing the paperwork. They're watching following the money. They're watching the entire process from A to Z.
Right.
They're watching. Fastest way to learn something is
jump in and get
is
involved.
to watch, is to watch people that really know what they're doing this.
Yeah.
And they get 50% of the commission. Now, the second person that would do that is the person says, hey, I just want to refer my clients, and Dallas, I don't want to sit in any meetings. I'm going to go get my next life insurance sale or my next Medicare sale or whatever it may be. I'm going to stay in my lane, but I'm going to refer. Dallas, we paid out, and I wish I could remember the exact number. It was multiple hundreds of thousands, and I don't remember the number. I mean, multiple hundreds of thousands in the third quarter and the fourth quarter in the Elevate program. These are people who were just asking a couple of questions while they're with their Medicare client, or while they're with their final expense client, while they're with their life client, while they're with whatever client it is. And absolutely hundreds of thousands of revenue is paid. We have agents who received, we have one agent that just came to us 2 months ago. And I guess it's been maybe 3 months ago now. And he made just on referral, about $370,000.
My goodness.
That was his 50%.
Whew. Mercy.
And he made the introduction.
Gosh, I would just about introduce anybody to anybody for 300 and whatever that. Yeah, that's nuts. Now, do you have to be an agent with Impact to take advantage of the Elevate program?
Not at all. And they can keep their Medicare contracts, their life contracts, everything elsewhere. If they have annuity contracts and they want to keep those elsewhere, they can, because you could be co-agent with our retirement team on the application. Wow. And but I'm telling you, Dallas, if an individual, the hardest thing to do is get in front of a client.
Yep.
You and I both would agree on that. And so when you're in front of a client, take advantage of those opportunities. Those opportunities are there.
Yeah.
Those opportunities are there. It's just whether we're taking advantage of those opportunities.
Man, that's crazy. Want to shift gears just a little bit and talk about prospecting, because like you just said, we're not really shifting gears, I guess, because what you just said is true. For me, the hardest thing, two things, is grow hair and get in front of clients. I'm got pretty good at getting in front of clients.
Number two, you're pretty good.
We're working on it. But you, this is something that astounds people. You've written some business in your life, $515,000 life cases. About how many Medicare clients do you guys have now?
I personally have about 2,300.
Yeah.
Personally,
so you've written some business.
A little bit, yeah.
How many leads do you purchase on a monthly basis? And I know the answer to this, but I'm just being a smart aleck.
I've never purchased a lead in my life.
Never purchased a lead in your life.
Yeah.
So that just there are some people driving whatever that may have just hit a guardrail. Get it back between the lines. And let's talk about prospecting. I've asked you this question before. If I dropped you off today, Phoenix, Arizona, you don't know a soul. Because when you started in the Medicare business, started Secure, all that stuff, you didn't have a huge warm market to work with, right? What would you do?
This is the easiest question anybody could ever ask me. Yeah. Drop me off in Phoenix, Arizona. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing Medicare mailers for seminars. That's the very first thing. Is I'm going to conduct seminars, and I'm going to conduct seminars on a consistent basis each and every month, Medicare seminars. And I'm going to educate people turning 65, so pre-65, and educate them on what their Medicare options are, Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage plans, how to enroll in Medicare, talk about dual plans in the event that they're dual, talk about veteran plans in the event that they're a veteran, and just Medicare educational. And it's going to be an event to where I'm going to feed them. But I'm going to, Dallas, when you feed somebody,
oh, that's why I'm here. Brian asked me over to his house and fed me, and I'm like, well, I'm like a stray dog. I'm coming back.
And when you feed somebody and you educate them, the chances of them doing business with you are really, really high.
Yeah. So that's one. What else?
It would be Medicare seminars, and also I've done a little bit of this, but Medicare seminars just exploded so much.
Yeah.
And to where I did a little bit of the pre-65 mailing, and a lot of agents do that, and a lot of agents we've had some agents who just, that's their only marketing tool, and they have tremendous success with it. Mine is just always Medicare seminars. I did Medicare seminars for about 3 years, and I'm not, when I tell you this, Dallas, I'm being honest and truthful. I had to stop doing seminars.
Yeah.
Just because there was not enough. Unfortunately, God only made 24 hours in a day. I wish he'd have made like 50 hours in a day.
Yeah.
But he only made 24. And so there was just not enough hours in a day because the key to it all is the Medicare seminar prospect, or, client, is probably 10 times more likely to refer you than the non-Medicare seminar client.
You get a few referrals.
Just a few. Yeah.
What do you average on a month in referrals? Probably.
When I was full time into sales, I'm more on the building impact now. But it would probably be no less than 15 to 20 a month.
Yeah.
No less.
That's incredible.
And an AEP would go into the 100.
Yeah. It's the value. It's the establishing yourself. One thing that you do that I saw a lot of is you do a lot of things that you don't get paid for your client.
Oh, a ton.
Give some examples of that. What do you do for your client that you don't get paid for?
So I heard an agent one day saying, "Hey, go get enrolled in Medicare and come back and see me." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?" And I help people enroll in Medicare. I make sure they're aware of the Medicare savings programs to where if they, if they're eligible, I help them apply for that. If they're eligible for Medicaid, I'll show them the process. I'll show them that. Dallas, I help enroll in Social Security. Mm-hmm. I have enrolled, I don't know how many hundreds. I'm gonna say hundreds because I don't know if it's 1,000 yet. Hundreds of people into Medicare. Mm-hmm. I've helped hundreds of clients enroll into Social Security, and it's those extra value points. So now if I were to help you enroll in Social Security or Medicare, because it was confusing, I help you, and you're sitting around with your neighbor next week, and he mentions Social Security. What are you going to do?
Yeah, you got to go see Brian.
You got to go see Brian. He made it so easy for me.
Yeah.
But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one thing. It's truly, Dallas, one of the most important things I ever did is I started bringing on assistants. About every 500 clients or so, I brought on a new assistant. Mm-hmm. And just because I wanted to provide that top level service, but I want to spend as much time as my time doing revenue generating activities as possible.
If you didn't say RGA in this appointment or in this interview, I was going to be upset with you because I've heard it at least 50,000 times. Yeah. RGA.
So like, I provide all these services, but like if a client calls and says, hey, is this doctor in the network, or what's my copay on this drug, or, whatever it is, what's my copay for an MRI, they don't even have to call me. I'm introducing every client immediately to my staff.
Wow.
Immediately to my staff. So now they go to my staff and they love my staff more than they love me now. And it's just because, those ladies are just incredibly awesome, and they're the Chick-fil-A of insurance. They truly, truly are.
Yeah. The most important thing to you now, and I've been with you a long time, you've now transitioned to building a team.
Mm-hmm.
And let's close with that. Talk about building a team, why it's important to you. That was the next step you took.
Yeah. So building a team I've always been passionate about the leadership. I've always been passionate about allowing other people to telling the story. Because Dallas, I grew up in Arkansas, and my dad died when I was 5 years of age. My mom worked. I saw my mom working 3 jobs. Just year round, and I saw the struggles, and I witnessed it. I was part of that, and I saw my mom being the hardest working person I've ever met in my life. And she's still the hardest working person I've ever met in my life. I've never met a person who works harder than she does. And so when I got married, my wife and I, we didn't have much, and matter of fact, we got pregnant, and my wife got pregnant, which is Cody, and we had no insurance. So I started working 3 jobs. I was working at a chemical factory from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. I would mow yards from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., and I'd deliver pizzas from 5 p.m. to midnight. And I did that, the chemical factory Monday through Friday. The other 2 I did it 6 days a week. The only day I didn't work was on Sundays, because my wife's dad was a Baptist minister, and I think he'd have killed us if I'd have worked on Sundays. And so Sundays was, I'd go to church on Sunday morning and I'd sleep most of Sunday afternoon.
I was going to say, how did you not sleep through church?
Well, sometimes I did. Yeah. And but I sit on the second row in the front corner, inside corner, so I couldn't sleep too much because the pastor was always right in front of me.
And he's your father-in-law.
And he's my father-in-law. Yeah. And but it's truly just I want to see people. In Dallas, I'll say one last thing. I'll kind of close with this right here. Is I've had such an amazing life. If God decided today was my last day, I could, if I get to preach my own funeral, I could say he's the luckiest man to ever live on the face of the earth.
Wow.
I could truly, truly say that. I could truly say that he's, because the wife I have, how just supportive she is, the most incredible woman I'm blessed beyond measure. And for me to, and it's not about money to me, you know that. Mm-hmm. I've made more money than I ever dreamed I'd ever make in a lifetime. If you'd have told me back when I was a kid I'd make this type of money, I would have thought you were crazy.
Yeah.
But just what the insurance business has brought to me and my family, and now I get a chance, and this is where my heart's at. I'm just telling you, I'm passionate about it. I get a chance now to tell other people. I get a chance to show other people how to do it. I get a chance for other people to live that dream, and I get a chance for people to change their family tree for generations to come.
Wow!
And that is what I'm passionate about beyond belief. Is getting people to me telling the story. Because I'm last thing I'll say, Dallas, if I can do it, I am never the most talented person in the room. I'm just not, and I know that, and I'm okay with that. But there's just not many people that's more passionate. There's not many people that has a more of a work ethic, and there's not many people with more of a student of the industry than I am. Mm-hmm. I may not be the most talented, but the effort I give, and I could tell you so many stories, about individuals that I've helped, along the way, mm-hmm. and where it's just changed their life. And I get phone calls still today from people that just thanking me, for helping them. I got a nice gift a couple of weeks ago, a really, really nice gift. And the guy just says, "Hey, I just want to let you know that, I've been with you for 2 years, and I looked at my agency where it was at when I joined you, and I looked at my agency where it's at today." And he said, "I cannot believe I've made that much of a growth." He said, "But the thing about it," and he kind of used these words right here. He said, "But the thing about it, what I'm most proud of, I'm helping other people now."
Wow.
And he said, "And I got that from you."
Wow. Well, you're the reason I'm in the business, 23 years now. I've got a better life than I've ever imagined. And so I'm very grateful to you as well. So you're helping a ton of people, and that's just amazing. So we will have to do this again very soon, because I know we just barely scratched the surface. And so thank you for being here. I appreciate that. That's great. Guys, appreciate you guys and all that you do. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that stuff. If you want to learn more about Brian Askins, go to impactlegacygroup.com is the easiest way to find him. impactlegacygroup.com. He's the CEO over there. Great show today. Again, thank you guys very much. Please comment. Let us know if you appreciate this. Let us know what you want to hear next. How can we help you grow your book of business one play at a time? Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the Medicare Sales Podcast.